Now that you've decided you want to go to law school, I've talked to you about one component of law school, which is the diversity statement and so forth, and putting your application together. The last thing I want to talk about is which law school you should be applying to. And this is going to be, again, impacted by COVID because you cannot audit classes typically now unless you can get permission to do so from the professor. You can't typically visit law schools now because travel is more restricted and they're limiting ability of students to go to different schools. For example, just last week, I went to my alma mater, Berkeley, and I was doing a quick tour of the campus. I was recording a video actually for YouTube, which I'm hoping to put up to do a little private tour of the campus. There was no way I can get in there. All the doors were locked. I live in Santa Monica, so I went over to UCLA Law just, I think, 2 days ago. And again, all the doors were locked. You couldn't get in. So it is something else that is an important factor. An important factor that comes in is that you can do physical tours of the campus. So how are you going to choose which law school to apply to if you can't do some of those? So a lot of the research is going to have to be done online or speaking to people. So here's a couple of key components. Again, I'm going to be speaking about this on a YouTube video that I'm going to be putting out on our channel, which I think Steve will put on the comments and the show notes of this webinar. But the idea here is that you want to be thinking about a couple of major factors. And one of the most important factors is school culture. This is so critical, is how do you feel within that school environment? Why? Because you are going to be spending 3 years there. So if you already from the jump don't feel comfortable in that school, it's going to impact your whole experience, your grades, your network, your ability to better understand the material, potentially your bar passage, and your affiliation with the university for many years thereafter. So you want to make sure you're picking the law school that also fits who you are and what you want to do. Let's say, I have to admit, if I got into Harvard and I got into, I don't know, let's say UCLA because I like Los Angeles and I like California, but I think Harvard is a little more stuffy and I don't know what, I probably would still bite the bullet and go to Harvard, even though it may not bode well with who I am. But at least it gives me a better sense of, you just have to be realistic too. But let's just say you got into 2 schools that are fairly equally ranked. Let's say UCLA and, I don't know, Georgetown. You may say to yourself, I would prefer to be in UCLA because it's a smaller class size than Georgetown. Georgetown, I believe, is the biggest law school out there. So you want to think about class size. Another factor about UCLA. UCLA is located smack in the middle of campus, almost pretty much in the middle of campus. Georgetown, for example, is located near the Capitol, near Capitol Hill, while the campus of Georgetown is located in Georgetown. And there's like at least 6-7 miles, which in DC, 6-7 miles feels like 5 states removed. I lived there for about 6 years. And it's a small town, but it is like Georgetown really feels, the law school feels isolated on its own. So do you want to be in a school that it has its campus on the law school facility on the main campus, or are you fine with it being removed? Do you want to be in a university that is a city university, like to some degree Georgetown, which is located smack in the middle, or NYU, which is located smack in the middle of New York? Or would you rather be in a school like Cornell, which is out in Ithaca, which is also a city? There's a city around it, but it's very far removed from a big city environment. So geography is an important factor, and location and so forth, in terms of better understanding that school environment, because that dynamic also plays a role into it, because a lot of students may be commuting there, right? A lot of students may be commuting in, if it's a big city environment, versus a school that's more isolated, then they wouldn't be commuting as much. And that also plays a role within the whole experience, right? So those are the factors. Other factors that you want to be thinking about within culture is not only the class size, but the diversity of the campus. How diverse is it? Gender parity, racial parity, and so on and so forth. You want to be thinking about how friendly it is to the state and the school to your sexual orientation. You want to be thinking about what kind of law journals they have. Can you walk on a law journal, or do you have to apply to every single law journal? Is the class pass, no pass? Right? Which also plays a role in the competitive spirit of the campus. I wouldn't say Berkeley wasn't competitive in terms of a competitive spirit, but being a almost pass, no pass, it's pass, honors, highest honors, and subsidiary pass on the lower end, but typically everybody passed. Most people got at least 1 honor grade a semester. Some people got highest honors, right? But it really felt so much easier than worrying about the B+ and the B and the A- and the A and so on and so forth. So you want to be thinking about the grading system as well of that school, because it plays into the school culture, the kind of professors they have, and so on and so forth. So school culture by far and away is the most important factor when selecting a school.
Thanks for tuning into the show. Please subscribe if you haven't done so already to be notified of new episodes as I release them. And feel free to reach out if you need anything at all as you move forward with your prep. I'm happy to help however I can. In the meantime, I wish you all the best and take care.